Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Moments. Have you ever noticed that the most powerful moments don't always come from the loudest laughter or the most dramatic scenes? Sometimes, it's the quietest moments, those that last only a few seconds, that feel the most honest and leave the deepest mark on the heart. When all 7 BTS members finally reunited, gathering together in one space at RM's house, the atmosphere felt warm, relaxed, and filled with genuine happiness. Nothing forced, nothing staged. Smiles came naturally, light laughter filled the room, and conversations flowed without pressure. Yet, in the middle of it all, there was one small moment that almost slipped by unnoticed. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't made for the camera. But if you were truly paying attention, that moment spoke far more deeply than anything said that night. One gentle call. One spontaneous reaction. One act of care that appeared without conscious thought. And that's where the story begins. During BTS's live broadcast that night, there was an incident that happened so quickly, so easily missed if you weren't fully attentive, yet it became one of the most meaningful fragments of the entire live. A moment that wasn't loud, wasn't dramatic, and wasn't designed to steal the spotlight, but spoke in a far more honest way than any grand scene ever could. Amid the relaxed atmosphere filled with laughter, light teasing, and the members' constant movement, Jimin called Jungkook over. Not loudly, not with exaggerated gestures. Just a single, simple word, "Come here," spoken in a soft tone. A tone instantly recognizable to anyone who understands their dynamic. A different tone. A tone not meant for everyone. A tone filled with care. Jungkook hadn't even fully processed the call when Jin, in his signature playful manner, pushed him toward the sofa. Jungkook lost his balance and fell forward, his head going down first, his body landing on the couch in a way that naturally drew attention. It all happened in seconds. Laughter erupted. The mood stayed light. But among all the reactions, one stood out. Jimin. The moment Jungkook fell, Jimin's focus shifted instantly. No laughter followed. No amused expression appeared. His eyes locked onto Jungkook, fully concentrated, fully alert. As if the world around him shrank, leaving only one point of focus. "Are you okay?" he asked quickly. "Is your neck okay?" The questions came out naturally, reflexively, as if they had long been ingrained in him. Even before the words fully landed, Jimin's body leaned forward, his arm lifting, ready to support, ready to steady him if needed. It wasn't staged. It was a pure, instinctive reaction from someone who genuinely cares. He didn't wait for a long answer. He didn't let the moment pass. Jimin asked Jungkook to sit beside him, making sure the distance between them was close, making sure he could see his face clearly. Even when Jin continued joking and gently pushed Jungkook back toward the sofa, Jimin's attention never wavered. His hand lifted, touching Jungkook's neck with incredible care. The movement was slow and gentle, as if checking something truly important. Not an excessive touch. Not a gesture meant for the camera. Just a brief motion, yet heavy with meaning. A protective act that required no explanation. And that is precisely where its beauty lies. No dramatic words. No exaggerated expressions. Just a brief silence filled with concern. A small moment that felt deeply personal, even as it unfolded in front of millions of eyes. This is the kind of moment that helps people understand why Jikook's dynamic always feels different. They don't need grand scenes or explicit declarations. A quick glance, a hand ready to support, a question asked at exactly the right moment. That's already more than enough. Everything feels spontaneous, warm, and profoundly human. And that moment didn't stand alone. Throughout the broadcast, that same subtle pattern repeated itself so naturally it barely felt intentional. Every time Jungkook looked at Jimin, his expression changed. A smile appeared, wide, genuine, and light. Not a smile for the camera. Not exaggerated laughter for entertainment. But the smile of someone who feels comfortable, safe, and happy simply because a certain person is nearby. And every time Jimin smiled, his gaze almost always searched for Jungkook. Even in the middle of group conversations, even amid the presence of the other members, his eyes seemed to need to find Jungkook, even if only for a fraction of a second. As if that smile wasn't complete until Jungkook was within reach. There were no grand signals. No attention-seeking gestures. Just quiet exchanges happening over and over again. Jungkook smiles when he sees Jimin. Jimin looks for Jungkook when he smiles. Perfectly closed loop, wordless, effortless. What makes it most touching is how unconscious it all seems. They aren't doing anything. They're simply being themselves. Between laughter and conversation, they create micro-moments, small spaces where their connection lives and breathes. That's why so many people replay this live broadcast again and again. Not because of big events, but because of the small details that feel real. Gestures that can't be faked. Care that can't be manufactured. The BTS Live that night felt warm and grounded. All 7 members gathered to welcome the new year with ARMY, not as a formal event, but as a relaxed conversation in a space that felt like home. Jokes flowed, interruptions happened naturally, and everything felt effortless. Until the countdown began. 10, 9, 8. When 0 was called, cheers filled the room. New Year wishes echoed. Hopes were shared. Smiles were exchanged. Small moments were remembered again, laughter followed, and the night closed with warmth. The live ended without fireworks. Without grand scenes. And precisely because of that, it felt unforgettable. Behind the laughter and jokes, there was quiet care that couldn't be faked. There was a silent connection that didn't need to be announced. There was a calm presence, steady, constant, and always there. Jikook never need big words to explain what they have. Just one reflexive glance. One careful touch. One reaction that comes before logic has time to catch up. Because love doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes, it arrives in the softest ways, through care, protection, and the simple choice to stay close, even when the world grows noisy. Thank you for watching Jikook Moments. If you felt the warmth of this small moment, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so we can continue finding beauty in the details that are often overlooked. Happy New Year! May this year bring health, happiness, and love, for BTS and for all of us. See you in the next moment.